After ChatGPT's response, a designer in Brazil chooses to join the Adventist Church. A millionaire from Tanzania breaks with ethnic traditions after listening to Adventist radio. Amid conflict in Ukraine, young volunteers bring hope through social media. Stay tuned. ANN is starting now. Welcome to ANN. In Tanzania, one of the poorest countries in Africa, traditions and superstitions still govern the lives of many people. But amidst poverty and isolation, faith arrived through the Adventist radio. A leader of the Maasai ethnic group, considered a millionaire in cattle, heard the message and challenged the beliefs of his own tribe. What happened next surprised the entire community.
We are in Tanzania, a country famous for the Maasai people, known for their distinctive customs and brightly colored dress. They welcomed me with a native jumping dance. From a standing position, these warriors can vertically spring over 3 feet high. Their smiles made me feel right at home, and they even allowed me to carry one of their precious babies. I enjoyed every moment and fell in love with these dear people who received me with open arms. The Maasai have a semi-nomadic lifestyle. Even this village we are at right now is temporary. Every aspect of their lives revolves around their cattle. The cows determine where the village moves based on where the herds can eat grass. Cattle is their currency and their main source of food. Nothing is left to waste. Even their huts are made of cow dung. For a man to give away his cattle is foolish and unheard of. That's why Abraham's story is amazing. He owns more than 1,000 cows.
I have over 1,000 cows, and I'm considered rich by my Maasai people. But something was missing in my life.
Abraham's heart was convicted at an evangelistic series, and he became a baptized member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Most Maasai cannot read or write, so they learned from the radio. Abraham was overjoyed when he tuned in AWR. It was the topic of tithing that really caught his attention.
They spoke of faithfulness and trusting God, and that 10% belongs to Him.
As his eyes took in all that he owned, he knew what he had to do. In that moment, he made a commitment. Like Jacob of old, he marked every 10th cow. By the time he was finished, more than 100 cows had been designated for God.
My friends and neighbors thought I was crazy.
To the Maasai, 100 cows is worth about $30,000. You just don't give away the most important resource you own. Despite the ridicule, Abraham remained faithful to God. His neighbors stopped laughing 9 months later. They were shocked to see that many of Abraham's cows gave birth to twins and his sheep triplets. Cows rarely have twins. It's considered historic when they do. Immediately, everyone understood that this miracle came from a higher power. After the Maasai witnessed Abraham's faithfulness, they approached the Union president, Pastor Godwin Lickendile, and said, "We want to tithe too." Pastor Godwin was amazed and said, "Are you Adventist?" They replied, "No, but we want God to bless us just like He's blessing Abraham." And praise the Lord, 9 months later, their cows had twins too. Here is something else amazing. Every time a thief would steal any of Abraham's cattle, the cows would always return home, as if guided by unseen hands. Now thieves fear stealing from Abraham.
I praise God for Adventist World Radio.
Abraham credits AWR for changing his life. Everyone sees that the more he gives, the more he is blessed. Thanks to Abraham's testimony, today over 80 Maasai have accepted Jesus and have been baptized. And all of them now listen to Adventist World Radio.
Now, let's go to Ukraine, where an Adventist Digital Center has begun to connect with those impacted by the ongoing conflict.
In Bucha, on the outskirts of Kiev, the Digital Evangelism Center was inaugurated with the support of Adventist World Radio. The space operates at the Ukrainian Adventist Higher Education Center. Trained volunteers are responding to the wounded, distressed, and those in search of faith via the internet. 14 young people have taken on the mission of welcoming requests, praying with strangers, and offering real-time spiritual support. For the leaders, social networks are roads to advance the gospel of hope even during times of crisis.
A woman discovered the Seventh-day Adventist Church after consulting ChatGPT. The response from the artificial intelligence brought information that changed the life of this fashion designer from Brazil.
In Brazil, fashion designer Elisângela de Cássia was seeking answers about which church faithfully followed the teachings of the Bible. When she asked ChatGPT, she received a direct answer: the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Moved, she visited a congregation and was baptized during the arena of the Future Caravan from TV Novo Tempo. Another 16 people were also baptized on the same day. And, for her, it was God using technology to confirm what He was already speaking to her heart.
Montemorelos University in Mexico is transforming music into mobilization and signs agreement for organ donation.
In Nuevo León, Mexico, Montemorelos University signed the country's first educational agreement aimed at organ donation. In partnership with the state government, the initiative seeks to engage young people and increase the number of donors. Today, less than 10% are registered. The debut of the university's orchestra and choir set the tone for the event, using music as a bridge for empathy and action. In the state, more than 870 people are still waiting for a transplant.
In the South Pacific, diabetes is one of the leading causes of amputations and deaths. There, entire communities are facing a silent health crisis. Now, the Sydney Adventist Hospital and Avondale University in Australia are helping to change this reality.
Sydney Adventist Hospital and Avondale University have jointly raised 17,500 Australian dollars to refurbish 2 wellness clinics operated by the 10,000 Toes campaign, which combats diabetes across the Pacific. The clinics located in Papua New Guinea and the Solomon Islands serve communities where one diabetes-related amputation occurs roughly every 20 minutes. Funds will provide new beds and medical equipment, aiming to improve care and restore dignity for patients and families.
In Korea, an international conference gathers Adventist architects from several countries to discuss faith and form.
Sahmyuk University hosted the 5th International Biennial of Adventist Academic Architecture, BIEEA, bringing together architects and students from 5 countries. This year's theme, Form Follows Faith, reinterpreted the modernist maxim to explore how architectural purpose connects with spiritual values. Over 4 days, participants presented projects, exchanged ideas in panel sessions, and visited historic sites in the Korean capital. The gathering strengthened collaboration among participating universities, with organizers confirming the next event in 2027 at Montemorelos University in Mexico.
Where there is pain and suffering, hope arrives through the hands of ADRA, the humanitarian arm of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Today, the former president of the international NGO revives a legacy of compassion and faith, helping to rebuild lives around the planet.
My name is Ralph S. Watts, and I worked with ADRA for a number of years. I had the privilege of serving as President, Executive Director for 17 years. I was selected to begin with of ADRA in 1985. My first affiliation with ADRA goes with the predecessor of ADRA called SAWS. That we were missionaries in Korea after the Korean War. I was the director of SAWS for all of South Korea. So that's how I got involved. An important involvement that I had was to develop a team of capable leaders committed to the ministry of ADRA. And I felt that I played a role in keeping the church leadership, very tied in very closely to the work and ministry of ADRA.
I recall an experience that I think was a unique one for ADRA. It was during the Balkan Wars, mid-90s, and at that time, the postal services were shut down. But you see the ADRA logo somewhere on the wall. That logo became the postal stamp for people all around the world to get mail in and out of Sarajevo. And the Adventists and ADRA were the ones that were responsible for doing it.
Well, Brother Ralph, you and I don't know each other. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, it's good to meet you.
My name is Igor Radonic. I was born in Sarajevo. I was 11 years old when the war started in 1992. My family and I relied on that postal service to get the letters in and out. The only way we knew my mum was alive and the rest of the family were through the letters.
Really?
So my first encounter with the Adventist Church was through ADRA. ADRA fed my mum during the war as well. When I think about mission and what we do as a church, nothing speaks more to me than ADRA about mission.
Good to hear.
So I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, I suppose, for indirectly changing my life.
Can I give you a hug?
Of course.
I think the most important lesson was dependence upon God. He provided the wisdom, provided the discernment, the judgment, the team, the support. God is in ADRA. God blessed ADRA to where we were able to eradicate leprosy in the country of Nepal. The ADRA was involved getting rid of the filthy barracks where these people were existing who were lepers. And I would go up and see the ADRA director taking the hand of a little old lady who's lost all of her fingers, and he's rubbing her hand and trying to smooth it over and help her get it a little bit more comfortable for her. For him to do that made me think about Jesus touching the leper 2,000 years ago. I said, this is Christ in the 20th century. That touched my heart. The hope for ADRA it's unlimited. ADRA is going to be an agency that is going to have a tremendous impact upon the world in the months and years that lie ahead. We're not after the publicity or the big name or the billion-dollar gifts. ADRA is committed to helping the poorest of the poor in the most humble situations they find themselves in. That's what we do.
Elder Ralph and Sister Pat, just in recognition of just literally decades of commitment, service, and ministry, let me present you just with this trophy, just as a memorial of this day and our just deep sense of gratitude for just the ministry and the impact and the legacy that you have left this organization.
We are committed to building on this legacy. Therefore, I'm privileged to announce the Ralph Watts New Entry Program, where we will invest $1 million to develop young Seventh-day Adventist professionals for ADRA worldwide.
On behalf of the World Church, we honor Elder and Mrs. Watts.
Thank you.
Thank you for such extensive service. God has blessed your life enormously. We are indebted to you both and are extremely grateful for what God has done through you.
My dream to continue to support the work and the ministry of ADRA worldwide.
In Southern Asia, Nepal was the setting for a retreat that brought together Adventist leaders and families for moments of spiritual renewal and strengthening of family ties.
Situated between India and China, Nepal is known for its rich culture, mountainous landscapes, and the Himalayan range, where Mount Everest, the highest peak in the world, is located in this mountainous setting. The Seventh-day Adventist Church organized a special retreat for church leaders and their families. During the weekend, 17 families participated in integration and learning activities. The program focused on reconnecting hearts and reaffirming family ties, reminding that family is part of God's plan since creation. Shanti Pokharel, local director of the family ministry, shared practical advice and inspiring messages about family life. The president of the Adventist Church in Nepal, Umesh Kumar Pokharel, emphasized the importance of stepping away from routine and busy cities to spend time in nature, reflecting and strengthening ties with God, family, and friends. On Saturday afternoon, participants enjoyed a peaceful walk in nature. In the evening, families gathered around the campfire to sing, play, and participate in various activities. According to the organizers, it was a transformative experience that strengthened love and unity in each home.
The Seventh-day Adventist Church in Bangladesh organized a special program that brought love, care, and support to orphaned and vulnerable children in various regions of the country.
The initiative, coordinated by the Adventist Church in Bangladesh, highlighted the importance of each child as a precious gift from God. During the program, volunteers dedicated time to talk, listen to stories, and play with the children. Messages about unconditional love and the constant presence of God brought comfort and security to the little participants. The Adventist Church reaffirmed its commitment to continue supporting these children and announced new similar programs that will take place throughout the rest of the country.
Adventist World Aviation has transformed lives and brought hope to the Philippines. One of the results of this work is the story of Jamie, who decided to give his life to God after learning about the mission of the Adventist team. Even facing limitations, he became an example of courage and faith.
Have you ever wondered what it truly means to serve the least of these? How far would you go to show love, compassion, and faith to someone in need? Today, we're sharing the story of Jaime, a 75-year-old man in the Philippines who shows us what resilience, faith, and service really look like. This is a story of hope, faith in action, and the power of community. Once a town captain and pastor in a nearby village, Jaime and his wife, Rosalina, moved to the village of Sagpangan to be closer to their daughter and granddaughter. However, their family had to move away for better schooling, leaving Jaime and Rosalina alone to face financial struggles. AWA provided Jaime with small jobs around the mission base, from digging and cement work to carpentry and maintenance. His dedication and hard work, despite his physical limitations, reflect his unwavering faith. Inspired by the kindness and faith of AWA workers, Jaime embraced the Adventist message and was baptized. He became an active church member, dedicating every Friday to cleaning the church and preparing it for worship. Rosalina suffered a stroke that left her partially paralyzed, and Jaime now takes care of her while continuing to work tirelessly to provide for their needs. He washes clothes by hand, cooks, and supports her with a smile, saying, "The Lord will not forsake me." Jaime's story is a living example of Colossians 3:23. "And whatever you do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not to men." Despite his struggles, Jaime believes that God will always provide. Jaime's story is just one example of how Adventist World Aviation is making a difference in remote communities.
Adventist World Aviation, founded in 1995 and linked to the Seventh-day Adventist Church, operates in remote areas with a fleet of 30 aircrafts. AWA conducts flights that provide medical aid, humanitarian assistance, and spiritual support to isolated communities. In Poland, Adventist leaders have come together to promote a safer church free from violence.
Pastors and elders gathered for 2 national conferences on the theme A Church Free from Violence, focusing on practical measures to prevent and respond to abuse in faith communities. Mental health professionals and pastoral practitioners led sessions on identifying warning signs, supporting victims, and developing protective policies and church protocols. Participants also discussed pathways for referral, cooperation with specialized services, and long-term care. Times of prayer and worship were included in the program. The meetings concluded with a joint commitment from church leaders to implement safety training, strengthen reporting procedures, and work toward making every congregation a safer place.
In Argentina, a group of young people is preparing to travel to Cuba to serve in communities where there is still no Adventist presence.
25 young people from the Adventist Church of San Rafael in Mendoza are organizing a missionary trip that promises to transform lives. The Mission Without Borders project was born from the desire to serve God and share His love beyond Argentine borders. Inspired by a providential invitation from missionaries working in Cuba, the young people intensified their local actions, visiting families, supporting schools, and praying with needy communities. Now, the group is preparing to head to the Caribbean island, where they will work in cities without Adventist presence, offering humanitarian aid and sharing the message of hope. The mission takes place in partnership with the Light Currents Project, which aims to distribute more than 200,000 copies of the book, The Great Controversy Throughout Cuba, the Argentine Youth Trust that God will provide the necessary resources to fulfill the calling and bring light where there is still darkness.
We continue presenting the series Incredible Wonders from Hope Media Spain. This collection of videos highlights God's creative power and the beauty of life. In today's episode, Beauty, Darwin, and Design, we will explore the art, colors, patterns, and details of the animal and plant kingdoms, all with a purpose that goes far beyond simple survival.
Beauty as an end in itself would be absolutely fatal to my theory. Charles Darwin. There are at least 8 million different species of animals and plants. And for over a century, the preferred explanation for their incredible diversity has been the theory of natural selection. Charles Darwin's hypothesis of gradual, undirected biological change has had enormous influence on both science and philosophy. But can a purely materialistic process explain not only the astonishing variety of living organisms, but also their extraordinary beauty? The starting point for discussing natural selection and beauty is Darwin himself. He wrote that when he looked at a peacock's tail he felt sick to his stomach, because he was looking at something that went far beyond what his theories of both natural selection and sexual selection could explain. To better understand Darwin's preoccupation with beauty, peacocks, and how they threatened his theory, let's take a closer look at those feathers. You look at the peacock's tail and you're like, wow. It's a visual epitome of symmetry, harmony, and coordination between all the elements of design. And the deeper you look, the more interesting it gets. An adult male peacock has an average of about 200 tail feathers. 170 of them feature decorative ocelli and 30 are topped by a crescent-shaped plume. When displayed in courtship, the feathers form a magnificent fan. With each ocelli and crescent geometrically spaced to create a showcase of pattern, symmetry, precision, and design. This bird is a living work of art. And when you look closely you see the craftsmanship, planning and subtle engineering that are absolutely evident. In nature, gratuitous beauty is not limited to peacocks, as the animal and plant kingdoms are filled with stunning visual displays, each of which evokes an obvious question. Can natural selection produce artistic expression of such magnitude? A blind process devoid of foresight or purpose that theoretically constructed every detail of every organism through a series of biological accidents. Random errors in the genetic code. Right? Because chance, by definition, is not directed toward a specific destination. So the explanatory method, the explanatory tools that natural selection offers are far too crude for what they're meant to explain. What we have right before us, right in front of us, in the peacock, in the tropical fish, in the eye of the eagle, in these exquisite designs that display not just engineering, but artistry, whimsy, humor, subtlety, all the hallmarks of a supreme intellect. And the conclusion that you really come away with is this idea of beauty, of a property that we perceive, that we understand, that we sense, that we respond to, that goes far beyond what living things need to survive. That signal takes us beyond the world itself, to a transcendent cause, to a divine cause. The world is designed. That is the only reasonable inference that can be made from what we see.
In the upcoming episodes of ANN, we will continue to follow the series Incredible Wonders. Hope Media, the official audiovisual producer of the Adventist Church in Spain, has been sharing hope through media for 25 years. The organization Maranatha Volunteers International, a supporting ministry of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, continues to transform lives through volunteer projects in various parts of the world.
Maranatha Volunteers International's annual convention welcomed a very special guest speaker, Ayrton Kohler, the new president of the General Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. On September 20, nearly 2,000 people attended to hear his sermon, which called on everyone to be a part of God's work around the world through Maranatha. The Sabbath program also featured impactful reports from Maranatha country directors and other Seventh-day Adventist World Church leaders. These presentations described progress in the countries of Paraguay, Brazil, the United States, India, the Dominican Republic, Kenya, Cuba, and Zambia. They also informed audience members about continued needs for infrastructure in these territories. During his compelling sermon, President Kohler called listeners to be a part of God's work around the world. Additionally, multiple Maranatha volunteers took the stage to share their testimonies of transformation on short-term mission trips. The gospel music ministry Heritage Singers delivered powerful musical performances throughout the program and a mini concert during the afternoon session. Maranatha Volunteers International, a supporting ministry of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, mobilizes volunteers to build churches, schools, water wells, and other urgently needed structures around the world, including North America. Since 1969, Maranatha has constructed more than 16,000 structures and more than 3,500 water wells in nearly 90 countries.
This concludes this week's episode of ANN. To learn more about the Seventh-day Adventist Church, visit adventist.org, and for all the latest news, visit adventist.news. We'll see you next time. Until then, God bless.